buried by time, the lost African empire that defied Rome. They had gold, they had armies, they had cities carved from stone and palaces wrapped in legend. Yet today, almost no one remembers them. Long before the British Empire ever set foot in Africa, long before the fall of Rome, there was Kush, an African superpower that once humbled the world's mightiest empire and vanished into the dust of history. This is the untold story of the Kingdom of Kush, the African empire that conquered Egypt, defied Rome, and left behind a trail of secrets buried beneath centuries of silence. In the dry heat of modern-day Sudan near the banks of the Nile stand more pyramids than in all of Egypt, smaller, sharper, and darker. Monuments to kings and queens the world forgot. These are the tombs of Kushite royalty, the Black Pharaohs, and their story begins over 3,000 years ago. The land of Kush was rich. Gold sparkled in its riverbeds. Iron flowed from its hills. Its people traded ivory, incense, and ebony across the ancient world. To the Egyptians, they were both allies and enemies, fierce, proud warriors with dark skin and untamed pride. For centuries, Egypt looked down upon them. But then something extraordinary happened. In the 8th century BCE, as Egypt began to crumble under internal strife and foreign threats, Kush rose. Under a powerful king named Piye, the Kushites didn't just defend themselves, they invaded Egypt. Piye didn't sack the temples, he didn't burn the cities, he walked into Egypt as a restorer, not a destroyer. He called himself a true pharaoh, ordained by the gods. For nearly a century, Kushite kings ruled over both Kush and Egypt. They revived ancient traditions, they built pyramids, and they governed with a blend of African heritage and Egyptian legacy. The dynasty they forged became known as the 25th dynasty, the era of the Black Pharaohs. But greatness invites envy. Far away in the Mediterranean, the Assyrians, brutal and power-hungry, looked southward. Egypt was too tempting to ignore. In a campaign of fire and fear, the Assyrians stormed into Egypt, pushing the Kushites back. Despite valiant resistance, the Black Pharaohs were forced to retreat south, back to their homeland in Kush. But they were not defeated, they were transformed. Back in Kush, a new capital was born, Meroe, a city of iron and innovation, culture and queens. Here, the empire flourished, no longer a shadow of Egypt, but a civilization of its own. They created a unique script, their own gods, their own identity. Women weren't just queens, they were Kandakes, warrior rulers who led armies and signed treaties. One Kandake, Amanirenas, would go down in history for doing what few ever dared. She declared war on Rome. In 24 BCE, as Augustus expanded Rome's grip into North Africa, he met fierce resistance. Kandake Amanirenas, blind in one eye, led her troops into battle herself. She attacked Roman forts, seized statues of the emperor, and mutilated them as a message. Rome retaliated, burning her capital, but Amanirenas didn't bow. Through skill and sheer will, she forced Rome into a truce, an agreement that respected Kushite borders and sovereignty. Rome, the most powerful empire in the world, blinked. Kush remained free, but time, not war, proved to be the deadlier enemy. As trade routes shifted and new empires rose, Kush began to fade. By the 4th century AD, the once mighty empire had withered. Meroe's walls crumbled. The language of Kush was forgotten. Its cities buried beneath the sands. For centuries, silence. Until archaeologists in the 19th and 20th centuries began unearthing clues. Black granite statues, forgotten pyramids, royal tombs with inscriptions no one could read. Even today, much of the Kushite language remains undeciphered. A lost voice from Africa's golden age, still waiting to speak. History didn't forget Kush, it erased it. European scholars dismissed it, museums mislabeled it, textbooks ignored it, because it didn't fit the narrative of Africa as a continent without ancient grandeur. But the truth is undeniable. Long before colonization or before slavery, before maps split Africa into foreign shapes, there was Kush, an empire of warriors and builders, traders and queens, an African power that stood toe-to-toe with Rome and survived. So what do we learn from the silence? That history is not just what is written, It is what is remembered and what is hidden that entire civilizations can be buried, not by time, but by bias. And that truth, like gold, waits patiently beneath the surface until someone dares to dig. The pyramids of Kush still stand, quiet, sharp, proud. They whisper a forgotten legacy, not of conquest, but of resilience. And now, finally, the world is beginning to listen.